Coming from Rwanda, where he had attended the inauguration ceremony of Paul Kagahme on the Sunday of August 11, 2024, and while on his first foreign visit since taking office, the Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko arrived in Bamako a few minutes to 3 p.m. on August 12, 2024, for a commencement of his one-day working and friendly visit to Mali. And upon his plane touching down at the Modibo Keita International Airport, he was welcomed in the country by his Malian counterpart Dr. Choguel Kokalla Maiga, as well as some other members of the Malian transitional government. At the airport, Sonko was accorded a military guard of honor, and after his delegation familiarizing itself with the Malians, they had a brief chat at the airport lounge before heading to Dr. Choguel Kokalla Maiga's office, where they had a brief but crucial bilateral meeting. And out of the meeting, Sonko reaffirmed Senegal's firm commitment to work hand-in-hand with Mali, and had this to say during the bilateral discussions.
It
is an honor and a pleasure to be here, to be able to renew our attachment to this Malian land, to present our greetings and also to show solidarity with the Malian people for this fight that they are leading. A legitimate fight for their sovereignty, and also a fight against this very cowardly phenomenon that we call terrorism. And I assure you that nothing that could destabilize Mali will come from Senegal, in any case, not in our region. And on the ongoing crisis between ECOWAS and the recently launched Confederation of the Alliance of Sahel States, Sonko had this brief remark to make. ECOWAS has very poorly managed these considerations, and if it was our regime that was in power at the time when this was happening, we would have firmly vetoed it, and there would never have been an embargo against Mali coming from Senegal. Then from the Prime Minister's office, Ousmane Sonko headed to the presidential palace at Koulouba, where he met Transitional President Colonel Assimi Goïta, and personally delivered Senegal's condolences to the Malian authorities following the July 25 to July 27, 2024 Tinzawatan attack that left a number of Malian soldiers and Wagner fighters dead. And in the media briefing that he held at the palace some moments after their discussions that also touched on strengthening cooperation links between Mali and Senegal, particularly in the political and economic fields, this is what he had to say. Allow me to bow in memory of all our Malian brothers who fell on the field of honor a few days ago. Which I present on behalf of President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, on my behalf, on behalf of the government and on behalf of all the Senegalese people who reiterated our most sincere and saddened condolences. As I said, Mali and Senegal are one and the same people. We share so many things that we cannot list them here. That is why when such an event occurs in Mali, it is as if it had occurred in Senegal. I presented to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Assimi Goïta, all our condolences. I thank the Malian people for their welcome today through the Prime Minister, His Excellency Choguel Kokalla Maiga, the gentleman who welcomed us very well since we got off the plane with almost the entire government, and allowed us to have a working session before being received today by the President of the Republic. This interview with the President was very informative. It allowed us to review all the current issues to discuss in an open manner, not in a formal or solemn manner but as brothers, because as I said, when I come here, I am at home and I come to speak to brothers. We spoke without filter, as they say, to discuss the major issues of the day both at the national level in Senegal and in Mali, as well as in the much broader framework of what is happening in the sub-region and in the world. So I particularly want to be satisfied with this meeting, which has allowed us, and I believe, as we have always done between Senegal and Mali, to better bring our positions closer together. Mr. Prime Minister, public opinion thinks that you are increasingly changing your discourse towards the countries of the AES. Are you maintaining your Pan-Africanist discourse? You know, if there is something that we must avoid, It is putting emotions at the forefront of everything. The issues that we manage are extremely serious issues. I will never be criticized. They will never release a single statement that I made before that differs from the statements that I made today. Our position has been very clear from the beginning. When we began to take a position on these issues, there was not yet the AES. There was only what happened in each of the countries today considered to be members of the AES. When it happened in Mali, we were the first as opponents to denounce it. And we continue to firmly denounce the embargo that was imposed on Mali by brother countries, and unfortunately among which our own country participated. I had denounced it on behalf of my party. I continue to denounce it, and as I said, under our regime, this kind of practice will never be able to prosper, and no one will go from Senegal to either destabilize Mali or our brother country, or impose sanctions of this nature on it. That has not changed. It will not change. When it came to an intervention in Niger, my position was very clear. In my prison cell, I had made a publication to denounce this and warn the heads of state of ECOWAS. This has not changed today. The AES came afterwards, and no one will give a single speech where I, as president of my opposition party at the time, said that we would join this or that organization. We must stop these amalgamations. We have never taken a position to say that Senegal will join this or that organization. That is the first thing. We are all sovereign countries. We respect each other. We must respect each other in our sovereign choices. And we respect Mali in its choices. We respect Burkina in its choices. We respect everyone. Choices that we understand, since we have always said, and I recalled it well after being Prime Minister, that many meetings were committed by the heads of state of ECOWAS, and that often, we were much more interested in the symptoms than in the real causes that led us to this. That has not changed in our country. So, what we are being criticized for, is having or being in the process of working to continue to reunite the family. Since when can we blame a Pan-Africanist for doing everything so that we remain within solid frameworks rather than dividing us? This is what we are being criticized for, and therefore it means that we have changed, and I said that whatever the outcome or the choice that was made, it will change absolutely nothing in our relations with each of the countries and the frameworks that will be put in place. On the contrary, it could even strengthen them. We must put emotions aside and work on the basis of concrete concerns if we call ourselves Pan-Africanists. Every Pan-Africanist must have one and only objective: to bring Africans together beyond our differences. I said it earlier with the Prime Minister, Europeans fought world wars that cost millions of lives, but found themselves together again afterwards. So whatever our differences, let us try as our ancestors did, to create the Mali Empire that extended from here to Senegal, Ghana and everywhere. We cannot do less than them. And that is our concern. But if a sovereign country like Mali considers that the mistakes that have been made justify its departure, we respect this sovereignty, and that will change absolutely nothing in our relations, which are secular and fraternal relations. What message are you leaving with from the President today? The President was very open. We had a very frank, very fraternal discussion. And I appreciate all the recommendations he had to formulate, because he wishes the best for Senegal, which is a brother country. So the alerts on this phenomenon of terrorism and its evolution, the recommendations he gave, and above all, we are on the same wavelength between Senegal and Mali. The external considerations required for this relationship cannot impact this relationship. We will remain united in accordance with our geographical, historical, economic, social and even societal realities, which require us to be two very united countries, and to continue to cooperate in all areas, and that is extremely important. At least we come out of here with the certainty that we have exactly the same understanding of what our relations should be. Because of that, I thank them very much, and I thank all the Malian people.